Hi everyone, how are you? It is Dr. Emily, functional podiatrist and human movement specialist. I am here to speak to you on how you can improve your running performance by strengthening your feet. So there are over 29 muscles in the foot and the ankle, and many people overlook strengthening this part of our body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through 3 of my favorite running specific foot exercises to help you improve your running performance. That first exercise is going to be short foot. Now, short foot exercise is going to be an exercise that activates the muscles of our feet by engaging our toes down into the ground. Now, the sensation of how this feels like is going to be achieved initially through what's called a forward lean. So if I rotate to the side, and if you want to join me, I'm going to have you start with your feet shoulder width apart, toes facing forward. Imagine that you are stiff as a board and you're going to rock forward until your digits start to contract into the floor. Do you feel that engagement, how they're pushing straight down? Now keep that engagement and center your body back into that stacked position. The position that your toes are in right now is technically short foot. Now, when I like to do short foot and that pushing of the toes down into the ground, you could do this in a single leg stance. You could do this bilateral with your feet shoulder width apart. You could build it into a squat. So every time you come up, you're pushing those toes down into the ground. But the most important part of it, whichever style you decide to choose, is that you are engaging your core at the same time. So if I push my toes down into the ground, just like when I lean forward, I'm going to engage my core. I'm going to exhale at the same time as well. And then I'm going to relax my toes, relax my core, and inhale. Again, I'm going to start to exhale, engage my core, and then I'm going to push my toes down into the ground. And if I want to do a little bit of a forward lean at the same time, engaging my core, I'm exhaling and pushing my toes down, I may do so, and then I relax. Try to hold that short foot engagement for at least 5 to 10 seconds if you can. Hold it at approximately 20% of your max contraction. Think of short foot exercise as essentially saying hello to your feet versus going into a maximum contraction. We are trying to wake up the muscles of our feet, not fatigue them. That is your first exercise. Your second exercise is going to be a heel raise with a ball between the heel. Now this exercise is targeting specifically a muscle called your posterior tibialis. And your posterior tibialis is a very powerful supinator, or what puts your foot into a rigid lever position. So I consider the ball between the heel exercise as also a rigid lever exercise. That is how we push off when we are running. So you're going to start by taking a ball, you're going to place it in between your heels. So it's on the floor between your heels, and then you're going to start to stack your upper body. Now I'm going to rotate slightly so that I can have my hand on the wall for balance. I'm not trying to challenge your balance. You're going to start by slightly lifting your heels. Now, as soon as I do that, I'm driving my heels together into the ball. I'm pushing my toes down into the floor, which is called short foot, so that I can activate my core and my foot. Now I'm going to lift all the way up into a heel raise, and at the top part of the heel raise, I'm going to imagine tucking my heels under the ball. And I'm going to exhale as I lift, tuck my heels under the ball, and then slowly inhale as I lower back down, and you can relax your toes. Again, toes go down, slight lift of the heels, drive those heels together. Exhale as I lift through the core, tuck the heels under the ball, and then slowly lower down. So every time you lift, I want you to feel that this is the action happening in your foot and your lower extremity, all the way to your core and through your breath. So I recommend doing approximately 8 to 12 repetitions, and you can do 3 sets. Your third and final exercise to strengthen your feet is going to be a single heel raise with the option to do it on an incline or a slant board. Now, if you feel too much in your great toe or your first MPJ when you do this, don't worry about doing the slant board. But the ability to do a single heel raise is extremely functional and important, especially for the runner. So if you are doing just single heel raises, not on the slant board, no problem. We're going to start nice, strong, set your base, spread your toes, slight bend in the heel. Not too much, but we don't want to be locked out either. Slight bend in the heel, and then you're going to lift all the way to that heel raise, and then you're going to slowly lower down. Again, exhale, lift, and then slowly lower down. Now I do want to add that I am holding onto the wall for balance. You could have a chair that's in front. This is not a balance exercise. It is actually quite difficult to try to do that heel raise properly without holding on to anything. I will add the bonus that I have the ball in my hand, and every time I lift into that heel raise, I'm squeezing my hand into the ball to improve my balance. Now, if you want to do this on the slant board, exact same thing. So I have a wobble board that I just tilted back to give me a slight decline, which is going to engage my plantar fascia a little bit more and my posterior chain. So I am starting on the edge of the board. I'm going to lift my opposite leg. Ball is in my hand, slight bend in my knee. Now as I lift, I'm going to do a slight lift of that heel first to engage into my foot, and then I'm going to go all the way up. I'm going to slowly lower all the way down, heel onto the floor. Little bend in the knee, toes are contacting the board. Exhale, lift all the way as high as I can, and then slowly lowering down. Okay, now again, just a side note that a inclined single heel raise is going to put higher load on the first MPJ, the plantar fascia, and your posterior group. This is great if you can tolerate it. So maybe you want to start with just the flat single heel raise and then progress, if you feel comfortable and it does not bother the first MPJ, to the inclined single heel raise. I recommend doing 8 to 12 repetitions on both sides for approximately 3 sets. If you are looking to learn more about how to keep your feet strong and improve your running performance, please head to stepstrong.com.